Hello and welcome to grade level and department time reviewing of the top five that we spent some time in vertical teams looking at in the last in-service. I have randomly selected the 7th grade science as a backdrop for this. We may review a few of the things that are going on there, but um, we're going to talk about a couple of other things as well. I want to start with a little bit of discussion about the purpose of the vertical team and what the top five is going to do for us. The purpose of the vertical team ultimately is to make sure that we're reviewing data and using that data to guide any changes in our curriculum. On several occasions in different groups, I have had conversations and had questions about, well, why can't somebody just tell us what to do? This should just be a top-down decision. And my response is, well, you probably don't want somebody like me making that decision. Our true expertise in this district lies within the room that you're sitting in right now. Nobody knows the curriculum at the grade level for that subject matter better than you do. And if anybody else did, then we could really just implement that immediately. And so the task for your groups are really to um, be more specific of the content that needs to be taken, and determine what should our district pursue, and what other strategies and techniques are needed within the district. And then my role is to help support those things and um, help bring in additional training and help bring in best practice. But the content itself really is determined by the standards and our performance on the standards. If we can't justify why we would need to change or add or eliminate something from the curriculum through some data that we've collected somewhere along the way, uh, then we have to question why are we making that change in the first place. So the most important thing I really want to get across to you is that your expertise is what determines how we should pursue and make changes to the curriculum. Uh, the administrative role is to understand what's in Build Your Own Curriculum and help support it. We tend to spend more time on the process and delivery, and work on professional development that focuses on those areas, whereas you content expert uh, people are spending more time on the connections between grade levels, and which is why we've developed the vertical teams, and how do we make it a consistent um, level of expectation for all of our students as they progress through the grade levels and through the courses. So as we look a little bit more uh, into the top five, one of the things that you're going to do today in this group is to review some of the changes that you made in the top five at the last vertical team. And I want to remind you that these top five, the reason that we chose top five is because that the research indicates that you can really only focus on 3 to 7 things as major emphases in a course in a year. Getting way too many doesn't allow you to go into the depth that you need, and too few may indicate that you don't have enough content, which we all know that we have more than enough things that we can focus on. Um, The second part here is that the standards should guide these top five, but they might not be exactly what you want to dump into the top five. One, often they're there are too many. We can't focus on every standard. They're not the central foci of every single course. They're really more of a behind the scenes working. We're looking for things that are complex. Sometimes the standards are not specific enough. They don't really address what the end goal expectation is, and so we want to get a little bit um, we want to become a little bit have a little bit higher expectation without getting too specific. If they become too specific, they're things that are done too early in the year. Um, it doesn't allow us uh, to focus on it for an entire year. It might not be quite as big of a deal, so it probably isn't one of the top five. Maybe it would fit within one of the top five. But remember that the standards are really the floor of our expectation. We need to make sure that we have rigorous expectations that that exceed those understandings within the standards, because we need to exceed the standards and the performance on those standards and any type of an assessment that's created. Think about your top five is really these are the things that kind of bring your course to a grinding halt if students aren't understanding. You would go back and you would stop and review and come up with more creative ways to present the material. These are the things that they just absolutely have to understand. You might not even really move on without understanding these topics. Um, in order to be successful in this course, you just have to get this idea, and so you're going to do everything within your power to get students to understanding that. And remember that, as I mentioned a little bit ago, that these are rigorous, complex ideas. They probably take you most of the year to get to. They could be some of the stepping stones along the way, but ideally, the top five should really focus on the things that are, what are the end of the year expectations? What are your final goals? So we really want to we want to use the standards. We don't want to necessarily just dump them in and say that that's our top five. Um, you really need to think about, well, what exactly does this mean? Um, if we look at um, this seventh grade science course, when we read these, notice they've got six, they've got five. Overall, they're focusing on 11 things, but they've determined that six of them are really vitally important. Remember that when you read these, they should be specific enough that a new teacher, a new person could come in with this with that background training and understand, oh yeah, I pretty much understand what they're trying to get me to do in this course. Um, but at the same time, we don't want to make them so specific that um, you can count to 10, for example. That might be something that's so specific, it gets done so quickly, so early in the year, that um, it's really not the level of expectation, the end of the year, high level concept that we're trying to get across. Um, so take a look again at your top five. There's no perfect explanation of what this is going to look like. Um, it's going to be a work in progress, but in the end, you want them to be what you're striving for throughout the year, how you're going to um, focus on things throughout the year, uh, but at the same time, uh, not too specific, but not so generic and general that it could be at any grade level. I hope that helps some understanding of the top five a little bit more. Remember that the the content expertise is within you. All of us are dependent on each other to make this work. We all have a small part in this. There's no single person that can dictate the entire process. It is a process. It will continue to evolve. When you go back to vertical teams, your vertical team conversations are going to help you become a little bit more of the expert in the subject of the vertical team that you've uh, been assigned to. And you're going to bring that back to this group and share and have more conversations. And between both these grade department times and the vertical team times, we'll get back to a deeper understanding of what it is that we're supposed to expect from our students. In the end, we're going to spend more time looking at data and how it affects our performance. But for now, we're just trying to make sure that things have a general nice flow. Uh, have a great morning. Thanks for the time.